But basically, I think that there were some very critical moments in this game. At this moment, of course, he had to take on e4.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very natural. I mean, I was so surprised that he didn't take, and it should be a draw.
Yes.
A4, but yeah, I mean, of course, it has to be a draw. Yeah, and after he played King H8, now after Rook E2, I think that his position is unpleasant already.
Exactly. You're ready to, first you blockade the pawn, now you're ready to simply win the pawn. You know, Knight F2, Knight G4 is on your agenda, other things as well. So very unpleasant now for him.
Yeah, but of course he had to stay somehow with the queen on G6, because after he bring his queen to A5, it was very bad for him, because the queen doesn't do anything, and now after C4, I think it's objectively very bad for him. Here, of course, he had to take on E4 and
the knight.
Yeah,
and now the square D6 is weak and the structure is weakened.
Yeah, and I think I have a feeling that Knight D6 was probably winning on the spot here, but or maybe he has Queen C5 here, but Queen C5 maybe Rook D3. Yeah, because then he doesn't have this scheme to defend it, and here Queen C2 is also a nice move, because I'm straighting Knight F7 check.
Right.
Yes, but actually he had a beautiful trap here, King to G8, and now it looks like I'm winning immediately, but he has Queen B8 and E4.
Oh, that's really ice bucket challenge. Oh, that was terrible. Oh my goodness. E4 discovered check.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I can play C5 and Queen C4 or maybe something else, but or maybe I can play Knight F5. It should be winning for white, of course, but it was.
I mean, you really. Normally speaking, he's always there with a chance. You know, he has some tactics, but this time he just stopped his play at all. When he failed to make bishop takes e4, I mean.
Yeah. But I think this is really the critical moment of all the game, because here, of course, he had to take on e4.
Absolutely. Sergey, thank you so much for joining us, and win some more games in the game of Magnus Carlsen, Anish Giri. They have just reached the position that I had shown before we started the interview with Sergey, and Rook F5 check. Whoa, no, more moves have been played. Just a second. I think so. Let me get an update. It's a different position than on my board. Okay, we do have the pawn being promoted. King H8. This is very strange. Okay, so sorry. Magnus checked on F7. Remarkably, it's the same. I didn't want to mention it to Sergey, of course, on the air, but it's the same checkmate with the two rooks that Magnus had in the final tie-breaking match of the two rooks checkmating Sergey. There would have been, means how remarkable it is that Magnus missed this winning checkmating idea. Again, if you compare the Rook F7, Rook H8 checkmates at this position, it was right out of the World Championship match game. Instead, he played Bishop F7 check, also winning, I must say, because he gets to pick up the rook with check and King F6. And this is winning, obviously, two rooks and two pawns against the queen, but just not as cleanly as the previous winning line. And now we just have to make sure you don't blunder away this rook with Queen E2 check. So there's still some work to do, but I think after Rook H6 check and something like Bishop H3, in order to protect the king, that and there's likely other computer wins as well. But this looks to me like a very normal way for a human player to play, and it's good enough to win. Let me just see the other position. There was one game in progress. Taliban and Magnus versus sorry, there's a tweet. I'm sorry. Lots of big mistakes in the Masters groups today. Just a few minutes ago, Carlsen missed a very simple win. Now he has to work. Yes, I will agree with that. There was a case of double blindness, most definitely, in the case of Sergey and Levon. Not so uncommon. It's just so rare to see it at these levels. These guys seem to have 1,000 eyes and they spot all the tactics. But one major one was missed today. And let me just go to that game of Magnus. Magnus thinking over, I'm sure he's trying to figure out a way of checkmating with his two rooks. And he has played the move rook h6 as expected. King has to walk to e5. And I'm just thinking that the bishop was going to come to h3. So, Grandmaster Robin Van Kampen, back to join us with the commentary. Hey, Robin, did you enjoy it? That was fun with Eric, yeah?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I guess this was already discussed, but I can't believe that Magnus missed a checkmate here.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not really Magnus-like.
And the weird part is I was showing it to Sergey, and I was like holding on to my breath.
Wait a second, but what has just happened? I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Sure,
but
of course.
has another move just been played? Or?
Instead of the checkmate, he played bishop
Yeah,
f7
so
check.
I
That was
know.
wrong, yes?
Check. King f6.
And now we're up to date with the players.
I believe, I'm just gonna be honest here.
Please.
I know rook h6 is a big mistake. I know it from our Silicon friends, so I'm not going to take any sort of credit for this move, but supposedly the only move that wins is bishop to c4, which is horribly difficult to find.
Bishop to c4?
I know, and I'm really sorry but I had to let you know, Yasser. I can't leave you in the dark here.
Oh gosh, I was having a momentary, I didn't understand it. The funny thing is, actually, Robin, the funny thing is I saw this move queen e2 check. You got to give me credit, capturing the rook, right? But then I wanted to go rook h6, king e5, bishop h3, thinking I had gotten my rook out of.
Not really, no.
No, queen d2 check, and suddenly we're going to have to play rook and bishop and 2 pawns versus queen. I won it against Lajos Portish.
You did?
Yes.
But this is an absolute draw as far as I know, right? Or is it very difficult?
It was very, very difficult. I think that the drawing chances are much higher than the winning chances.
Oh, to win it, you mean, was difficult? Yeah.
I had to, but I think I had the F and G.
Oh, okay, which is
a
probably
little bit
better.
nicer than the G and H. But, oh my goodness, because of course, way back here.
Well, this is just crazy, right? It's actually just a mate, like rook c8, end of it.
Well, the problem is I was interviewing Sergey, and if you remember the last game of the tie-breaking match, it was queen h6.
Yeah.
And so this is the exact same
mate.
So I couldn't say to Sergey, how could he not see that? That wouldn't have been nice. He wouldn't have come on the show ever again in his life. I would be his worst comment.
It seems that Magnus really needs to give away that queen to I don't want to be mean, but
focus his mind.
Yeah. But this is very sloppy, Yasser, because
terribly.
Okay, let's say you go with this, but then he had over 40 minutes on the clock, and
to find bishop c4.
But yeah, to go rook h6, king e5, and then start thinking and maybe realizing something went wrong, that's very strange. And I don't understand what he could have missed here, because queen to d2 check is such a clear threat. If you don't move your bishop, in such a way that you somehow can cover the checks, it's very likely going to be perpetual.
Can I get the same position back for a moment? So suppose, Rook h5 check, he goes king d6.
Yeah, and now we're in real trouble.
And then I have to go rook c6.
Yeah,
and,
you have to go on rook c6, that's true.
No, sorry. So he can't cancel. He can't recover,
No.
so to speak. So bishop c4 was the move. That wins, actually. Because you're actually, it's the two rooks against an exposed king is the real problem here for Anish. And, well, it's not a difficult move to find when you think, well, you've got to stop queen e2 check, right?
I mean, you've got all the checks covered, right?
Right.
I think black has to do something like knight to d4, because, okay,
Yes.
queen f2 check, king h3, I mean, that's the end of it, right?
That's it.
Nothing to think about.
There's no line.
And you can't really go queen f2. I mean, maybe you can, but you need to take into account rook f7. So
Exactly.
then here you'd have to play knight e5, which looks very bad after rook h6. I don't know if it's a mate. Yeah, it's a king f5, bishop d3 check. And that's all she wrote.
That's all, exactly.
Yeah.
My goodness. One of the things that really stood out in my mind, especially towards Magnus Carlsen's career, is his extraordinarily high kill rate. You know, when he gets these winning positions, he's really good at putting guys away. We always talk in chess about the hardest thing in chess is to win a winning position.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of grandmasters fumbling around,
Well,
myself included.
Anish himself is just really struggling with that too. We discussed it earlier, like in the candidates tournament.
Exactly.
Like if
Putting
you
guys
wanna,
away that you're winning against.
exactly, if you want to pinpoint, why is he, getting all these draws? Well, sure, it's stylistically, but a lot of it is not putting guys away.
Right. And whereas Magnus has been, well, just absurdly efficient.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really high, again, kill rate. Not playing rook c8 check. I mean, getting himself into the position where he's mucked it up. I mean, this is a big mess up. In the World Championship match, games 3 and 4, of course, that was also bad.
Yeah.
That was bad.
It's
for him.
almost a little bit of a recent trend in his classical chess games, although, he hasn't really played that much. I mean, the match is kind of an event in itself. Then, of course, he did do very well in the Rapid and Blitz,
Yes,
vice
impressive.
world champion, more or less,
Right,
or
right.
third, shared first anyway. But it is kind of peculiar because it seems to happen a lot now suddenly, especially
It's
with
crept
Sergey,
out, yeah.
and now this game. It's just not where we're used to of him. So
No, he has set such a high standard for himself. Definitely surprise here. Do we have other moves besides, well, what other moves do we have?
I honestly think that almost every single decent option here leads to the endgame we talked about with two pawns, bishop and rook versus queen.
Right.
And that they may very well play for a little while.
Right. And there we have a fantastic shot, the webcam shot of Magnus Carlsen coming to this shocking awareness that he's let his prey slip away. Wow. And going back, because I didn't actually see the moment when we have left it, Robin, we understood that Anish is struggling. We gotta, and yet having said that, was this move king well, this is actually, as we know, would have been losing. Would king f6?
No, king f6, I was talking about this with Eric. I thought
you guys had it, great.
I thought this was a fairly easy way as well, where you just pick up the pawn.
Ah.
And, that should be a done deal as well.
Exactly. Without the rooks, I go knight takes g3, right? Yeah. But with the rooks, I don't think I'm going to get a chance to do that. Okay, that's simple.
Yeah. So actually, I think Magnus did it all okay, because I don't think king f5. King f8 was not an option because it allows rook f5 check and rook f1. So just to show the line, I mean, white can do it in various move orders, but as simple as this, really. Let's put it here, and rook to f1. Again, reaching that endgame where, of course, if you take on g3, there are some theoretically drawn position, but you're not even going to reach it most likely. Not with rooks on.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think he did it all perfectly fine. Bishop f3 is a fantastic move.
What a resource!
And what a resource to just start checkmating with these last pieces. But then, okay, rook c8. That's already inexplicable, obviously.
Right.
But again, for me, the sloppiest part is just not taking his time here. If you see, even now, he still has 34 minutes basically on the clock.
And he's taking more time over this decision
than
his previous ones.
I feel I wonder what your take on this is. When something like this happens to me and I can't find a solution, and I know it's not supposed to happen, but I can't help but start looking back and thinking, geez, where did I miss it during the game, right?
Exactly.
It like just sneaks into your mind, like you're calculating, and maybe you hit on a line where you're like, oh wow, if I had not given that check on h6, something like that, maybe this would have been possible. I can imagine that Magnus, by this moment, he kind of got to the point where he's like, oh, bishop c4 was there, and it may have been a much better move. And if that's the case...
I talked to Victor Korchnoi about this, and I was envious of Victor. Victor had explained that in the Soviet school of chess, or how he was taught by his trainers, is never look back, never look back, never look back. Always look at the position at hand and make the best move in this position. Torture yourself after the game, right? Oh, gosh, that's really great advice. I'm never going to try to do that. Never could. I was always like kicking myself. Why did I? Oh man, I could have just played that. That would have been so
Scandinavian. Not Scandinavian?
Yes.
Yes, very much Scandinavian fans, I was going to say.
Of course, and thank you, Carson, for pointing out. Yeah. Okay, this has happened to me with Anatoly Karpov. It was a game in Brussels, where it was sort of like he had the two bishops, and I was suffering, and he gave me a chance to slip away, and I slipped away, and it was a German and making a nice draw, but I hadn't slipped away enough. It was like one of those games, like literally he had to win it 3 times, and he did.
He did win it 3 times.
And then he got the full point.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like, I felt incredibly cheated, violated, that I didn't get any recognition for putting up these and forcing him to win it 3 times. This might be a game that Magnus, should he win it, and I say should, like with he'll have felt like he won it once, twice, 3rd time, because he's really giving it the college try of blowing it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's his best shot? He's already tossed in the move rook h6,
honestly,
king e5.
I feel that we're just moving towards, let's say, bishop to h3.
Yes.
Check.
Yes.
I really think that this is what we're going to see. And, in one form or another, it looks to me like he's just going to lose an exchange. And then, like you said, I mean, to be honest, I find it hard to believe that Anish would ever lose this. Just make a random move, really.
Okay. All right, so random move. So what's my best setup? My best setup would be bishop on f3, rook on f5, pawn on g4. Then you don't have perpetual checks.
Right.
Right.
So would you like to?
But somehow I like the king on e5. I would like the king on a1, by the way.
Sure,
So I don't feel like I want to check the king back, but I don't see how I'm going to do it other than with rook g6. I'm going to have to...
Actually, I feel the more I look at it, I kind of feel bad about my queen h8. Let me put it on h7. Just so that after something like king h3, I also have a check.
Right, to be as disturbing.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point in positions like this. You want to annoy your opponent as much as possible. Be that annoying pest, not letting him get his setup. Okay, let me try. Bishop f3. You can go queen d3 if you like. I was going to go king g2. You can go queen check if you like. I was going to go king h3. You can go queen d7 check if you like.
What is more annoying? Maybe queen d3 is more annoying.
Maybe this is because after queen d7 check, I was thinking that okay, g4.
Yeah, now I see where you're heading.
Queen d3, rook check, and I get my rook on f5.
Yeah, that's wherever I go, you go rook f5.
Right.
But even that.
Even
yes,
that
I
is
mean,
very. It's well at least.
yeah,
go ahead, put it on the board just for our viewers.
Yeah, totally.
So at least in this position, you can feel that my h pawn is actually quite dangerous.
And also with my king cut off, which I didn't have to allow, obviously, but of course this is how you get out of all the checks.
Right.
And
so
then
there's
from
no
here
perpetual.
you start
I
h5.
nurse it again.
Yeah.
I nurse it all over again.
Yeah.
But this.
And he has played, by the way.
Long
road.
time. Yeah, has a long road ahead. He did lose his rook.
Yeah, he did lose his queen d2 is forced. So like we said, bishop g2. I mean, this was really just the most simple way of getting to the desired position. And I guess it also appeals to him, like you said, that, you know, at least there's this small hope of like, hey, with the king cut off, maybe
right, along the sixth.
Yeah, along the sixth. If you can maintain that for a certain amount of time, I'm not getting the arrow. If you can maintain this and get somehow g4, some sort of version that you just showed, it would be would be the best thing you can wish for, really.
Right, but what a stunning opportunity for Anish Giri to try to save where a position where he was made in the 3.
Yeah. Incredible.
Wow.
It reminds me a little bit of his escape in Norway chess. Although there was nothing like this. He was lost in that game, and it was with some incredibly genius tactic that Magnus missed. But it was of like the magnitude of like +10 or something.
Wow.
And Magnus before that also much better. It was a Sicilian bishop b5 check, but it definitely wasn't made in 3. Like this is just I don't recall the last time I've seen something like this. I mean. And I wonder, I mean, I'm fairly sure Anish, you know, he probably found it.
By the way, I think he did play queen h7.
Yeah.
Which was your second suggestion after queen h8,
right? Having been Anish's second, and I've been around in this game already several times, discussed it. Also, much earlier when the rooks were still on. And...
Wow, by the way, just to know... It was like one of those things where you get to go bishop e4 check, king f6.
This would be
h6, king f7, bishop h7, right?
Yes.
One of these terrible things where you wonder.
Here, you need to be here, right?
Right.
Yeah. So even this is. But of course, the sane
king g5
minds are going to play this.
Yes. The same. By the way, rook f4 check,
has
king.
Been played.
G5 is on the board.
And we get the following
position.
And Anish takes it off.
Whips out here.
And G takes, king takes. And the question is, are they going to play till stalemate?
No, I think this was a reward. They've rewarded us for our tenacity, our loyalty to our viewers.
Yes, sir. You do realize that Magnus could make like virtually another 150, 200 moves before deciding on the draw.
G3. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm while watching a blitz game where they try to flag one another from, you know, of course, I mean, this is the good point. I've never purposely tried to stalemate my opponent when we're at such a point. Obviously, Magnus will play.
Well, he will
stalemate the opponent. I never saw the meaning in that.
Honestly, I think it's just it's basically saying, listen, I was this close to beating you, and just, you know, I'm going to show the people how much material I was on. I was up, and he's actually making like he's not even playing the most straightforward move here, but g6.
And that was it.
And now, okay.
Oh, there you kind of saw the flip off. Okay. First of all, you can hear the applause behind us.
Yeah.
Anish Giri, a gritty, determined. When he given the opportunity to make a draw, he really seized it.
Yeah.
But my goodness, what a blunder. What a blunder. Magnus Carlsen overlooking a relatively straightforward checkmating idea. I joked on an earlier segment that it was the same checkmate he used to beat.
To retain his world championship.
To his, yeah. And it was right here that he could have put a very, it's almost, I want to say it's almost a tactical test. What's the best move? Bishop f7 check looks like it's winning, but this is actually the best move. Check.
Oh.
Oops, it didn't close. Yeah. Check. And it has nice echoes of the checkmating pattern that he used.
It looks so
against
much alike.
Sergey.
It really does.
And there's that checkmate. And that would have just clinched the game, brought Magnus to +3. Everybody would have said, holy cow, the defending champion is in great form, everything. And now he's clouded the event.
Yeah.
Wow.
This must be, if he doesn't already know that he missed this is going to be an extra cold shower for him.
Right.
Once he gets out and one of his friends or family members tells him this, it's going to be like...
They're drawing straws.
He already had all this... Yeah, they're drawing straws right now.
Not me. Come on,
and
Henrik, you're the
of course,
father.
he had all this time to cool off, and maybe he found a more complicated way, I don't know. But if someone's going to go up to him now and explain to him, listen, Rook